So, I'm using Windows 11, like a lot of you, I assume. Did you know that in the year of our Lord 2025, an estimated 70% of users are using a Windows operating system? I didn't, I just looked it up for the video. In case you didn't know, Windows is a pretty invasive OS. I actually think it is the most invasive OS. Microsoft collects an ungodly amount of user data, especially in Windows 11, which kinda sucks, as I know a lot of people are having to upgrade from Windows 10 regardless, either because they want access to the new quality of life features, or because of the fact that it's about to stop receiving regular updates. Which, if you didn't know, is kind of a big deal. If you connect to the internet with any amount of frequency, no new updates, period, means no new updates to patch vulnerabilities, broken security features. Basically, you're opening up your PC to a world of danger if you decide to stay on Windows 10. Of course, you can still refuse to upgrade. People still use Vista to this day for some strange reason, regardless of your choice, but especially if you've decided to upgrade. I'd like to take this time to compile a list of software and some tweaks that I've devised to make Windows a more personalized and user-friendly experience, with particular focus on minimizing tracking and collected user data on Microsoft's end. Quick disclaimer, this symbol at the top of your screen is a health indicator, and I'll be leaving this at the top of the video to indicate how safe what I am describing for you to do is. Green means it's completely safe. Orange means that you may encounter some mild issues during configuration of said feature, and red is only for people who know their way around computers. Please pay attention to these. There's a couple of the things I am describing could really muck up your PC, and at worst could just completely brick your setup. Probably won't go that terribly wrong if you decide to follow along anyway, but I'm not going to rule it out as a possibility in case you don't know what you're doing. Okay, first piece of software. Start 11 is a paid piece of software that allows you to completely customize your start menu. It comes prepackaged with alternate icons and a bunch of modernized layouts of old taskbar and start menu configurations, namely Windows 7 and 10. You can configure your search bar, back up the layouts you like, and you can even set a custom start button, which I've done here to match my color scheme. This does cost some money to get, about 10 quid, so probably about 12-ish US dollars. But after just a couple months of using it, I can safely say that it is worth it. Start 11 made the transition from Windows 10 to 11 much smoother for me, and it let me emulate the experience I had on Windows 10 so that I didn't have to tolerate the new taskbar or start menu, which I hate. Seriously, it uses so much CPU, it's kind of ridiculous. While Windows comes with its own built-in firewall, I like to use simplewall. Simplewall will let you block inbound and outbound connections from literally any application, just like any other firewall, which is incredibly handy if you're worried about data security. That being said, if you're paying attention, you can see this little red icon at the top that tells us that things can get messy very quickly. If you're going to use simplewall for things like protecting your connection and packets being sent to and from your computer, you have to know what you're doing, otherwise you might accidentally block a whole load of essential services. That's Windows updates, antivirus, or even your connection to the internet as a whole. Here's a list of programs that you absolutely must allow through the firewall at all costs. Heed these warnings, please. Anything else should be alright to block access to, but I recommend that every time you receive a pop-up that has the Microsoft signature attached to it, you look up what it actually does before you disable it. Otherwise, simplewall has been very reliable thus far, and being able to keep track of what services are actively being used on my computer and why has been nice. The app comes installed with a plethora of pre-registered IPs that are known to track your activity, and it blocks those connections automatically, which is really convenient. I don't know why people are still using Chrome. Like, at least use Firefox, bloody hell. Anyway, I use Brave browser. Brave is probably the fastest browser I found, even compared to, as aforementioned, Firefox. A lot of its speed when compared to Chrome is because of how it handles its cache, which I won't get super into, but basically, in Chrome, the longer you have it open, the more cache it stores. Cache is this collection of little bits of data from all the pages you visited since you started your browsing session. The longer you have Chrome open and the more tabs you open and close, the more it slows down. Slows down your whole PC, it's terrible. Brave Brave doesn't have this problem. Honestly, I don't think any other browsers, like Firefox or Opera, have this problem either. When compared to other browsers in any other context, Brave keeps your data relatively secure and comes with an inbuilt ad blocker, which is amazing. It has a bunch of other under-the-hood features that help with security, better speeds when browsing, and since it runs on Chromium, I know, ew, you can still use all your favorite extensions from the Chrome store, which includes themes, as you can see on mine. So you have no reason to be using something like Opera, which sells the crap out of your data. I don't want to hear, oh, but Opera GX looks nicer. Just remember to turn off the crypto shite. You don't have to engage with it at all. I even turned off the AI on mine. Finally, for applications, if you're looking for a VPN, for a multitude of reasons, I use Proton. If you don't know what a VPN is and why you should be using it, since there seems to be a lot of misunderstandings out there about what it actually does, a VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. When you're using a VPN, all of your internet traffic is filtered through a secondary server, which encrypts your data. Why is this useful? Well, by using a VPN, you're essentially putting all the things you do online in a little locked box that can only be accessed by people who have the code to open it. This stops people and organizations like your ISP, that's your internet service provider, hackers, and anyone else who's trying to see what you're up to online from doing so. This protects things like your emails, payment information, really anything you're using online. More relevant to today, it is useful for combating censorship and accessing region-restricted content. In case you haven't noticed, I am from the United Kingdom. You should be using a VPN, but you may not want to use it all the time. This is why I like Proton, since it's free. Obviously, there are paid options available if you want to be able to select the country that your VPN is based in, or want faster speeds while using Proton. Whatever you want. If you know you are going to pay though, personally I'd actually recommend Nord, since they've been the most reliable at bypassing region restrictions, but either way, these are the ones I like the most. It's just that Proton has a free version. Now, before we move on, I'm going to show you how you can make any of these applications pop on automatically upon boot. Basically, you won't have to open them up every single time you turn on your PC. Hit Windows key R at the same time, and I want you to type shell:startup. All one word. This is going to bring up a folder where you can add shortcuts to any applications you want to automatically turn on when your PC boots. Just drag any in here that you want, particularly simplewall if you have that installed. Then head to Settings, Apps, Startup, and just check that it's turned on here. If you already installed something like Proton, this will also pop up here automatically, so you can turn that on if it's not already. You can also use this time to disable any applications that you don't want to start up on launch. Like if you have things like EA, Battle.net, any drivers, that kind of stuff. Now that I'm finished with the application segment, let's talk about what you can actually do right now to keep your PC feeling like your own. First, sign out of your Microsoft account on your PC. There's literally no reason to do it unless you're syncing your data from one device to another. Otherwise, it's just more tracking shite that'll eat your power. Second, go to Settings, Privacy and Security, and under Windows Permissions, click on General. See all this? Turn it off. You don't need it. It's literally just adware. Third, go to Privacy once again, Diagnostics and Feedback, and turn this, and this off. More adware, keylogging crap, and diagnostic data that you're free to opt out of if you like. Optional diagnostics are just unnecessary, but you may want to keep on general diagnostic data. I don't know, that's up to you. 4. Once again, go to Privacy, Inking and Typing Personalization, and switch custom typing off. 5th, at this point, just stay on Privacy and Security on my days. Windows Permissions, turn off Activity History. You can also clear your data while you're here. Okay, that's everything. Well, it's not entirely. You'll need to turn off Cloud and OneDrive history if you have those connected, but if you're watching a video like this, then I assume that you aren't even using those features in the first place. Now, I'm going to show you how to make a restore point. Super easy. Go to your search bar and simply type restore point, and you should see this little guy pop up. What this is going to do is back up all of your shit on your computer, and that way, if something horrible happens, you have a copy of your entire hard drive and settings backed up and ready to restore. Just click configure, set how much disk space you're happy to allocate for restore points. I think 100 gig is more than fine, and you're done. There is so much more. I'm going to leave a link in the description to a guide that I found for keeping your machine machine and online activity as secure as possible. I haven't even touched all of the settings, DNS resolvers, the bloaters, all that good stuff. Final thing of note, a lot of people will tell you that you need to install an antivirus, but nowadays it's not really necessary unless you're some big scary corporation. This is why it's so important that you don't block things like Windows updates and Defender scans, because they work really well, actually. If you're worried that you've installed something dodgy and you think your PC isn't detecting it, then I'd recommend doing a manual scan with Malwarebytes. Actually, I'd also recommend that you get the free browser extension by them too, since it's just nice to know the security of the sites you're visiting. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this somewhat helpful. This is by no means a conclusive list of everything I'd personally recommend you do to your device to help keep it secure. And honestly, unless you play a lot of video games, you should probably just use Linux.